Sorry to jump in the middle of that.
Yeah, I don't know if he was necessarily giving me grief that particular time, but he does it so often that how would you not know? How would you know?
Well, he kind of, the way he asked the question over here,
Yeah, I know.
kind of made me think that
That was going to come.
Yeah, I could hear him huff as soon as you. So I'm getting ready to jump on a video call here. You want me to move down to the office? Would be better. You got stuff.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
I'll move down there. Yeah, I'll move down. I'll just do it because it'll be better that way.
Jared? Jared? I will. You done? Can you send me an invite so I can listen?
I'm.
I have to clean the writing and then if I'm gonna listen to, I will have to manually change.
Well, I'm on a call right now. Yeah, you know.
Mom, he's on a call.
I'm trying to get on this call here. Yes. Okay. But as soon as I'm done with this, we'll get that done, all right? So just listen to something that. Hey, Cole. Hey, I'm still waiting for these guys to join. Come here real quick.
Hey, finally got you.
Hey, give me 1 second.
Okay. I got to turn this up too. Hold on here. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Okay, just give me 1 second. My son's got to do something on my computer real quick.
Okay. This is the first time I've used Google for this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It works pretty well for something that's free. Can you see us right now or just hear us?
I can see you.
Oh, darn.
You don't have me?
You see where he gets all his good looks from, huh? Not me.
That's okay. My kids are good looking too, and I know it didn't come from me.
Exactly. All right. So you should have that. Okay. So just let me know if not, we'll fix it whenever I'm done with this. All right.
Right.
Okay. All right, man. Let me get over here where I can find you. Hey, there you are. Look at you.
Perfect.
Look like you're all buckled in.
I got the recliner mode going.
Nah, yeah, you do. That's where I need to be. All right, so well, let me just I'm gonna screen share with you and just show you. Let me make sure I got this set up real quick. And then I'm just going through here and I'm just like, holy crap, man! There's a lot of cleanup I got to do, but I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
Did it help to give you all of his DeMarco stuff?
Yeah, it will. I need to get it printed up and kind of figure it out, but I think it will help a lot. Gives me an idea what you're looking for. I just don't understand the GIS stuff and how we're going to do that, but that's kind of next level stuff we can figure out for tying it into the tool, you know?
I think when you see his presentation on the next at the end of the month, and I could also get you a YouTube of it. You might be able to look it up on YouTube, like Everett Fire pre-fires or something, you know. And
Okay.
if you look it up, he gives, DeMarco did a master's on pre-fires, and he so he made
I think I saw Chris watching this video. You guys were watching it a while back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he used a GIS layer to drop symbols in for key box, alarm panel, FDC, for them, hydrants, and some access points, and just kind of oriented the building. And it sits in a GIS map. So when they respond to calls, they split screen and put half that screen up as a Israel map that Everett has.
Okay.
Their city basically has all the stuff they needed. And he has like 7 or 9 layers of GIS. One, he could flip the map over to nothing but like water lines, or he could flip it over to utilities, DOT stuff. And I'm thinking about that. There is a lot of useful information down the road that we could have in there. The problem is New World won't hold any of that right now.
Yeah.
And they probably will in the future, especially if we go to them as a county and say, hey, look, we want this Esri map built into our driving maps on the computer. And we want the buildings to get bigger as they get closer. And if the guy clicks on the hyperlink to a building, it automatically pulls up a side sheet of important information.
Gotcha.
So
that's cool. I'll have to go. I'll look that video up tonight and see if I can watch that. I remember you guys watching it. It was pretty long, and I don't remember what I had going on that night, but that'll be a good time to look at that just to see how I can get it. Look at any kind of back end stuff we can do to integrate them from the pre-fire side.
Right. And so I agree with, like Mike Fitzgerald was saying from District 7, that we're almost looking at that first introduction of being one layer for the company officer, because everything that the company officer will do, basically he's going to only use 5 things. He just wants an overview of where his access, his panels, and things like that are.
Gotcha.
Outside of that, they are locked in the weeds of trying to fight a fire.
Yeah, right.
Well,
need the basics, and then they're gone.
Right, and then I can come behind and pull something up a little bit deeper and look at construction and do all that. The only thing we want the officer to trip on really is if he sees a special hazard symbol on there.
Right. Yeah.
Tell him that there's a warning behind this building of some sort.
Right. Yeah. Help him with that, giving that notification.
Right. Other than that, they won't use it, Jared. They won't use anything beyond what they can initially see in the beginning. Everything that I've been reading across the country, when they survey officers, they won't. They all said outside of that, they won't use it. It's pretty honest statement though.
Yeah. It's like I could see where it could be good at some level, but not for first responders going to an issue like that. So yeah.
Right.
Cool. Well, I'll take a look at that video. That will help a bit. And I'll try to make that meeting that you guys put together as well. So
yeah, the whole setup is going to be like I said, if I get you, I get Olson, I get Mike and myself, and then we get somebody from the fire marshal's office, I can actually convince them that part of my study showed that the failure of pre-fire programs is that they throw it onto a few officers online, and that takes a backseat to everything. There's no follow-through. There's no there to do it,
Right.
I mean, call, train, everything else come about, and by the time they get done, they're lucky to get 1 or 2 pre-fires out a month if they're lucky.
Yeah. I think that'll be with so many buildings, right? That'll be the way, figuring out how to structure that and embed it with inspections, and because there's so much volume that's got to get done. How do you, like you said, let's go for the target hazards first and work your way down, and then it's going to take time no matter what you do. I mean, it's going to be a process, but as it's injected, how do we have a place to keep it and have a way to manage it going forward that's easy? So that way it does build out, because it's the only way it's going to happen.
Let's say that all that information off the forms come in, and then Chris takes and extracts the GPS coordinates of the symbols they drop, but everything else on that paper that comes in a literature form and things that we can put in the form, we can discuss, as far as like what triggers us to have to do more.
Right.
We're taking that information and we're actually building the pre-fire, or we're taking that information, we're doing more with it. We just want the company officer to gather the information.
Right.
And then it's up to you, me, and Chris really to separate it and put it into where it's going to go. And that takes time, and that's where it's going to take time on the side, and maybe a lot you can do from home or whatnot. But once I kind of get them on board with that committee thing, then that opens the door to say, hey, these guys get overtime. These are how they log their hours. This is the process for it. And then we're up and we're legal and we're running and we're being productive,
Right. Yeah. Cool.
So,
that's good, man. It sounds good. It sounds like there's some definite potential there. So that's cool. I love the path you're going down. So I think we can make this work between that and this tool or whatever tool they decide. But I definitely want them to show what we can do here along with some other things. So I'll take that time to we'll get this thing kind of teed up, and then I'm going to keep working on a few of the other little tools that we've had in the background for a while, just to say, hey, we can also take these further. Like I talked to Greg from City Shops the other day, and he's like, man, I need some kind of electronic stuff for the rig checks. And I said, buddy, I've got it partially built out already. And he goes, because the process is like the emails and then having the paperwork, the actual physical paper, and then they have file folders and cabinets that they go through, and they're like, you can't go through and just go, how many times has this happened on this engine without spending a day,
Oh my
instead
God.
of going, hey, how many times have we had a primer pump issue on F171 and it just spits out, right? So that part, and then having the automated process where it can jump around to, from whoever's got the iPad in their hand out there doing the check and says, well, we got a deficiency, that goes right to the BC. The BC goes, yep, here's a couple notes, and sends it over, and it's done. And then we can see what's going on with it as well. I've got it like probably 75% built out. I mean, I got to work on it a little bit more, played around with some ticketing and stuff like that, and I didn't like it. So, but I've got it. I'm like, okay, we can do that.
If you showed Hovis that, if you could, what we should do? We should tag Lauren onto that forms meeting. Because Lauren in the room telling Hovis, this changes my life, just puts another nail in the coffin of what we have to do and what they should let us do, and just proceeding forward with all the electronic forms.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. We should. Maybe I hadn't thought that far. I wasn't sure how broad reaching this was, but yeah, it's another piece, right? And I know that sounds like from supplies, the supply stuff, they kind of got figured out with their new application that they brought in. I kind of built that out already as well, but that was just as a placeholder. Sounds like they got it, and I'm okay with that because we're going to have our hands full with what we got. But there's so much that we could do with this, and I just want to make sure they see a few little snippets and go, all right, figure we can do it or we can't. I don't care. It's up to you guys. But
if I
think we got a good thing.
Mike Vermeil tomorrow and get him on board with. I know he likes the iOS systems because he knows it's user friendly, right?
Yeah.
And if we did that and we took in a couple iPads when you did your demo, is there ways that you can show him like, hey, if Chris is mocking up doing a rig check, he's doing it right here on his iPad. It's immediately going in, and then hand an iPad to Hovis and Lauren and those guys and say, now look, boom, you're looking up in real time. You could see the history on this stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, we could totally do that. Just bring a few in, and I could try to screen share one up to the whatever we're using there. It just depends on what they got going. But is this going to be at headquarters?
Yeah, in the we got the Board of Fire Commissioners room all tied up for us, so we can use their video screens. I mean, they have multiple terminals all the way around the room. So it would line up like 4 or 5 of them if we want, or we could use a big video screen. It's up to you.
Yeah, so maybe go in there early and just kind of do some testing with the iPads and see, and then we could do one and show them how that process flows out, and maybe change the notification processes to me and you or some others temporarily, just so they can see how the whole flow would be. We can do whatever we want, but they'll get the gist of it, just seeing the functionality of it, really.
This is what they should have seen when we combined, and it got cock blocked by that one guy, right? I mean, whoever just didn't know, and he didn't know what he was looking at. This is beyond him right now, and I think I think he's kind of butthurt a little bit about it, but I think he's coming around more. Today he was decent to me, but I think it's going to blow him away when he's looking up at these terminals going, oh my God, it's more than just inspections. Look, these guys are doing their tie-ins, they're doing everything. And Hovis is a tech guy, and he loves that kind of stuff. He loves the ability to get onto a tablet or onto an iPhone and go, boom, hit it and look his info up and go, okay, I got that. And he just shuts it down and goes forward. He wants fast stuff.
Well, yeah, and that's, and that's what this gives you, right? Is we have all these freaking documents. Like I added another thing to the BC tie-in just because I thought it was kind of interesting, but I went through the roster, our current roster, and the amount of, it's just very like, that nobody puts the shifts in there the way it was all messed up. So I took it and I eliminated it out and pushed it and put all the data in, and then found all the errors and then made them all right. Like, okay, that can't be that, it's got to be this. So, and then that way, as a BC, he can go in, and as shifts are changing and stuff's changing, you just go into the tool, make the change, and it's always tracking, and you can always print up that roster, right? But it just makes it so much more efficient. So anyways, there's so much we could do with this. I mean, showing them easy, that's what this does, is it shows easy, because what we're doing now with the Excel sheet and everything else is terrible, So let me I'll just kind of show you real quick. So I know you probably don't have all night either, but let's see. Let me try this way. Okay, so tell me, can you see Station Journal right now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, and you can see my cursor moving around. And
yep.
Okay, so I don't know how much you've been in here, but I'll tell you there. So right now, this thing has been beat to crap. And you see we have a ton of tables in here. These are different apps up here. So you can see BC tie-in, supply was the other one I was working on. Here's the rig check one. So these are actually, we can build out 120 of these apps.
Okay.
Within one app, this one app basically did everything that we needed for Linwood, including scheduling and everything else. So that's what a lot of this stuff is. We had training and classes and all kinds of stuff in here that we tracked. We did it all from one app. So a lot of this stuff needs to come out, and it will basically start right about here on this address database. And then there will be, and you can see we got a little pre-fire area, but it's really like 4 or 5 of these tables, and past that they won't see anything, because this is my view as an admin, but it's super simplified. And we can show that, we can broadcast it to say, hey, test this as a user, and we can show them what that looks like. But this is our dashboard that we used to use, and FMO would use this top part. So this is all back end stuff. If they they could notify us, hey, there's stuff going on here. We've issued a fire watch for this, right? And it would pop up on our dashboard, and we would see that. They still do it. I actually saw a couple in here that are pretty recent, 12.2, 12.5. So they still do that, right? We could build this into mapping. We could do all kinds of things with that. But this is all going on in the back end from FMO for Linwood. We don't do anything there. It just pops up. Basically, all this stuff is kind of like that. So these are inspections that maybe you started that needed re-inspects, things like that didn't happen since we haven't been doing them. Nobody's been managing this, but we can get that cleaned up. And then usually this will be a bar graphs that show shift A, B, C, D have done this many inspections, this many re-inspections, yada, 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 right? And I think you've seen the mapping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if this is one view that we have. We had a pre-fire one in here too, where we could assign pre-fires, and we had the box that said add a pre-fire. So if you were out and you go, hey, I know this isn't right, they could add one. We took it off because it was just confusing people, and but we have some options there. So, but I wanted to show you. So this address database is pretty much the heart of everything, because what's going to need to happen whenever we decide to do this is going to be where whoever is involved manages, this is pretty much where FMO manages all their stuff from. And you'll see they can notify us when the inspection year is. We used to have it where they can notify the inspection year, and the station, right? So, hey, for 2018 or 19, station 15, these are all assigned to you, right? Get them done, right? So they manage that through here, and you can see this. And as they build out and they do these, they will add, some of these are a little erroneous, but I haven't cleaned this out in ages. But some of like this will show you how many annual inspections have been done, how many FMO inspections have been done. So as they start doing them, it starts building up this database of history for each place, right? And they can go in and you just click on it, and it'll take it to whatever you need to look at, and you can see all the data that's stored in there from those, right? Who did it, yada, 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 right?
Okay.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
But this is all tied back to an address. So that's really important, because we played around with this a lot. But you'll see here, if I scroll over, so all the fire watches that have been put there, if they are going to do FMO inspections that we don't even know about, this is where they add those fire watches. And then over here, here's your pre-fire stuff, right? So this pre-fire basically talks to all the data up in this, and this FMO inspection talks to all the data here. It's all linked together, but it's all living off of this single address. So if you were to go in, trying to find one that's got some stuff on it.
So like all the auto-populated stuff, it goes all different directions up there across your dashboard.
Yeah, everybody, it's all talking to each other, right?
Okay.
And it's based on just everybody's normal functions and roles. Whatever they're doing, it's all talking to each other. So, and then if you go in and you want to know, you go in, you go, hey, I need to know more about this 180. Let's see. If I click on that, where to go? There. Oh, oops, I clicked on the address. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm trying to find one that's got some stuff on there so I can show you how it breaks down. We'll just click on this one. So look at this 176 center, and it will take you basically to this address page, right? And this is kind of the hub. This is the address, what everything tees off of. So now you have all your information. You have your business info, your mapping. You can go to your layers. You can do all the same stuff here, right?
Okay.
So you want to do pre-fire stuff. There you go, right?
Oh yeah, I like it.
So you can do stuff like this, and then in here you'll see how it all kind of ties together. So there's all your contact info, and all this stuff populates upward to inspections, pre-fires, so you're not refilling it. It takes the latest info, it'll pull it up and then say, hey, is this correct, or does it need to be updated, right? Okay. And that's where all that works. So now as you go through here, you'll see there's all the annual inspections that have ever been done on it. 1, There's a couple FMO inspections. They've got their permits, fire watches, pre-fires. Basically everything is tied together back to here. You could get a printout of everything that you ever wanted on this thing by just going more print. It will print up every damn thing about this place.
Okay.
Right. And then all these things are tied together. So if you're here and you're like, oh man, this had a tenant improvement thing going on here, I need to take a look at that. You just click on it and boom, you go, and you're going to be looking at wherever this FMO inspection lives. So now it's taking us to a whole different table, and you can look at the details of that and what happened, right?
Oh, okay. There we go.
So yeah, so there's all their inspection notes, notices that were actually handed out, right? I haven't looked at this in a while, so there you go. It's all captured.
Wow, that's from the FMO.
Yeah, this is for Linwood, City of Linwood right now. This is what we do, what they do. I'm not Linwood anymore, so. But I'm trying to walk you through the basics so you can see. So this is all tied together. So there's the FMO inspections are theirs. They're the ones that they do. The annual inspections are the one that we do, right?
Okay.
And they go through, so as they assign them to us, which is essentially what I guess how you would probably manage the pre-fire part, is as they're assigned to us for this fiscal year or whatever, then they will populate on mapping or however you want it to populate, right? There's a whole bunch of different ways, but essentially it'll populate on a map and say, hey, we need these done while you're out and about. Go to the map, find one that's close to you and get it done. We need a pre-fire on this, right?
Okay.
So if we, so the new annual inspection form, if you were to just start one, this won't be tied to an address, but you could just go with a blank one and you could go find an address that's buried. If you were just out and about and you came across something, your pre-fire stuff is the same thing. But we've kind of, it's the same thing. Everything's built in and in the background. Oops. And as you get into this area, and this is kind of what I think a lot of the pre-fire stuff will do, you have all this background stuff that happens, these rules, and then if you say yes, then certain things pop up, certain things go away. If you're going through inspections and you're finding errors, it pops up codes and things like this, because this gets sent to the owner, right?
Yeah.
So if there are issues, they get notified just by us hitting save. This stuff all populates and happens, and they get notified and they can see this just like this.
Did you build all the codes in?
Jennifer Lee helped me with this.
Wow.
So I built, we'll say 85-90% of this, and then I spent some time with her, months with her over and over, and we'd sit and talk, and I'd talk about what we were doing, and I gave her some access and let her, and she was savvy enough where she got to go in and she started helping, basically getting all this stuff built out.
Wow.
So
how hard is it going to be? Do you, like, you're just going to have to put the name Edmonds or Mount Lake Terrace on the forms for those guys?
Yeah, we're going to have to figure out, and I think that's where it might get, there's a lot of ways to break this down, but maybe this pre-fires becomes city specific, or maybe, yeah, I mean, see, that's where we're, I'm not super familiar with how different these different places are, and I don't know how many different places we got to work with.
They should be the same exact codes.
Mm-hmm.
Harris, Edmonds, and Linwood and Briar should be the same codes. When we get into the district areas, there are no pre-fires.
Right.
Which
so
means we got to go to, we'll figure out a process for divvying up pre-fires to all the crews.
Yeah, and probably what would happen is we would go off the address, and if we find some one-offs or some changes, we could say if address equals, I don't know how they would do it, zip code, or maybe we have another box that we have to figure that out as well and say, hey, these 30 that we have to do are all different coding, and they have to be, whenever we select, North or South Everett coding, we have these things go away, and then these other things are required, right? So there's all these different things we can do in the background. We can make it as complex or as easy as we want. We just got to make sure that we're thinking of it like logically, because you can start creating loops and it can be a real pain in the butt for everybody. But overall, it's pretty straightforward. So, but that's what, like, the annual inspection, that's that you go through this, you fill it out, you put down here if a reinspection is needed. What we would do is, we'd say yes. And then that would go back automatically on our dashboard and pop up 30 days from now and say, boom, you guys need to do this reinspection today. Or we could schedule it for a date. If we didn't schedule it for a date, it would just go 30 days out. But if we wanted it for our shift, we'd go on, take a look, and we'd schedule it for our next date, and they would just pop up as part of our daily. If we needed further, and then if further follow-up was needed with the fire marshal, you said yes, and that auto-notified the fire marshal. If you had photos, you could add your photos here, all your notes and violation issues here. So you could upload photos from the iPad, as you're going. And on the iPad, actually, it's kind of cool because if you click this button, it just goes right to the camera, and you take a picture and it adds it. You click that, goes back to the camera, take a picture, and you add it.
Oh,
yeah. So, and then here you basically from here down, this is kind of the FMO. So we would say, hey, this is complete, but we have a pending reinspection or save it for later. These were some things that FMO did because they needed to track things on their back end. And that's kind of what you guys would do with the pre-fire stuff too, is just have some back end stuff that's not visible to the user. It's only visible to you guys as the admin of pre-fire.
Okay.
And that's how you guys would manage it in the background and move stuff around and know what's due and what's going on and what's been completed, stuff like that.
Okay.
So
in a pre-fire, do you have a pre-fire form?
So let's go there. So this pre-fire form. So here you go. We'll show you kind of what was put together. And this was based off of old Linwood stuff, right?
Okay.
So I'll just click on one of these guys here. This is pretty basic. But you'll start seeing a lot of the same information.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So you start seeing a lot of the same data. Protection systems, so we could put multiple ones in there. I'll show you what it looks like when we fill it out. But ventilation systems, tactical considerations. This one was, when we were finishing talking, that if there was anything like special tactical considerations or alerts or anything like that, this would be read and moved to the top, stuff like that. So real basic stuff there. And then in here, I guess if we open this, our old PDFs are probably embedded here.
Sure.
Is what I'm guessing. Yeah. So there you go. So we still got the mapping and stuff in there from the old days.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if you needed to take, if you're on site, you can, if you have that iPad in your hand, I'll just show you. I'll show you here in a second, but you click on that button, say add photo, and it goes right to the camera. You add the photo, and boom, it just fills them in here. So,
man, I kind of like that for that second layer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or we can hyperlink into this.
Yeah, totally. And that's, it's just another tool, right, that you have. The question is, how fast do they get there? Getting to it this way is, this is more of just like data management for other, basically if there are changes that need to happen here. And this is where, if you're going to have people doing map changes or adding things onto a map, that's where we got to figure out how that looks in something like this, because that's
my envision is that most of our information that they would fill out on that form, we would go in here, or maybe we use this form. You're going to tweak it, right? So they fill in the information, but the symbols, let's say I designate the 6 symbols, right? The connections, the alarm panel, the key box, special hazard, utilities or something, right? And let's say that they use their iPhone or iPad and pull up Active 911, and they have edit capabilities. This is what Chris wanted. And they drop the pins. He'll have different colored pins for what those are. They just drop the pin in on the locations around the building. Okay.
Okay.
And then hit done. That GPS information now goes to Chris. Chris can trigger that and give that to Wheeler to actually tweak on our Esri map.
Okay, so the user will go into Active 911 and add those in that area. So we could put a link here to Active 911 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Right. And then that would take them away from this, right? That would probably take them. We have to figure that out. We'll have to play around with that a little bit, but take them away from this. They would put the dots in, and I guess on Active 911, they put those dots in and save it somehow with edit capabilities, right?
Yeah, so he'll save it. But the big thing is he can take the GPS coordinates on an Excel sheet and he can give that to Wheeler, and Wheeler can build it on a completely different map that we can actually have up and running on the MDC or on the iPad itself. So as he's going down the road with directions, he can actually see it happening in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And we know there's a pre-fire to it. And the trick is, can he hit on the building in the Esri system? And that hyperlinks to this.
I don't know. I don't know Esri at all. So it's
question.
Yeah, I think there would be some data. We'd have to do some. We would have to have some kind of tie-in in the background. It may be possible.
If not,
I don't know.
Figure out how we want to layer the second layer or build, like keep this, and the command officers just go straight to here, knowing that they can get in here and find a pre-fire on the building. Because remember, when I'm in the command unit, I have more time as I get there and put things in motion and play to actually pull on my iPad, pull this program up and pull the address up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there may be something there where we could do some links. I don't know that system very well, and I don't know how tokens and stuff work in the background for this application. So it could get a little convoluted.
Sure.
But I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it just, maybe as we start getting the lat long stuff together, those become our links, and we embed links to Esri from here, where you click on. If you say, hey, pre-fire updates are needed, and you say yes, then it'll say, please click on the link, the Esri link or whatever down, or the Active 911 link down below. You hit that, and it takes you to that 911 map somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, but I don't. That might be stretching a little bit. So I don't know if that's a possibility.
Okay.
So that might be like a phase 2 or 3 thing. But
yep. That's what I was thinking too, that it's going to have to be in a second phase, because remember, everything that I'm going to sell them on is going to be two different layers. The first layer, just symbols in a map for an officer to look at, right? As he's going down the road, he doesn't have to click on anything, but it also tells him, and it also tells me, the battalion chief, there is a pre-fire on this, right?
Right.
All the symbols are everything he's probably going to need to use. But I know I've got to dig into somewhere else or hyperlink to somewhere else to get all of what you just showed me.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure out the hyperlinking stuff, and that will definitely make things better, right? Like once we can figure out those tokens and that background stuff, we could definitely get pretty creative there within the forms, because you can pretty much tell this thing to go wherever we need it to go. The question is, how does this application like to deal with other ones, and how does that application like to deal with ours, right? So that'll just be a lot. That's a lot of work, and that's something else, but I don't think it's off the table at all. I think we just have to put the time. We got to get the basics dialed in, start getting data rolling in there, and then start figuring out, hey, what can we do to make the user experience better, by pointing, from within each tool, actually pointing back to this other tool, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is not impossible. There may be some little things we've got to do in the background. There may be even, sometimes with tokens and stuff, the builder, the owners of these, because they understand the efficiency that it helps out with, there will be a cost to it. It's usually pennies on the dollar. It's usually not expensive.
Yep.
But sometimes they're like, hey, okay, you can get, 10,000 tokens a year for, whatever. And it's not a lot, but to make it more efficient, if we get to that point, they'll always let you trial it and kind of play around with it. You can always come back and say, hey, here's the value of this, right? This is what it looks like.
I think they'd be willing to pay it if we can show that it's user friendly and it works. And here's another key I'm going to give you too. As we get going here, by the end of the month, when you come to that meeting, that pre-fire meeting, I'm going to introduce you to a gal named Elsa, who works she's a GIS tech for District 7. And she's knee deep into Esri map systems. And I kind of trust her more than I trust Wheeler right now, right?
Okay.
And she's working hard on their end, looking for ways to hyperlink and do stuff like that. And just the idea that you could share information back and forth, you might be able to grab something from her too.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's for sure. We got a lot of stuff we could probably talk about. And, we've got so much stuff really built out already, just as a basic. Like, I mean, you can still see this, right? I mean,
yeah.
This is from 16 when we were playing around with this. These were all the ones that Chris started assigning to get done, So it's so
that's crazy.
Yeah, and then we would add a button here to say start the pre-fire, but I mean essentially you would, you're out and about and you would just go in and you have all the same functionalities that you would have with anything else for, it's telling you exactly where you need to go and why. The only thing that's missing here is we don't have that add pre-fire button. So,
man, look at that.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of functionality in here already.
Yeah, completely.
So
a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, so there you go. I mean, I just clicked on that edit and boom, it takes me in here. It would pre-fill all this out. Once we add that button, it would pre-fill basically all the way up to whatever data it has. It all depends on what data has been filled in there. So
if somebody did an inspection on this already, it's going to pre-do this. It's going to pre-fit this in.
Yeah. It'll put pre-fire. It'll put in as much info as it's been told it has already, right?
Okay.
So it will go back off of the data that's in there. So, I think that's kind of where we're at with a lot of this, is that if you go in and you look at the pre-fires that we have, I think there are only a few that ever had the data transferred from paper to, is that right? From paper to this. So, we got grids and things like that, but only a few of them have, went through and the actual data hasn't been input yet. You have PDFs that have been uploaded, but the data is not existing there because it's still all on paper. So there's a ton of data entry that's got to happen over time to get them all put in there. Or like you said, as you're adding them and building this thing out, how do we get it pushed over there easier, faster,
Right. The only thing that we're going to probably X out of the Linwood program is the PDF, itself, like the drawing of PDF.
Right.
And something extensive like the mall or something, we just have to download something else, to look at.
Yeah. There's plenty of other options. So that's, PDF's a little limited. That's, worked for what it was good for back then, but really with the active 911 and this GIS mapping and stuff like that, if we got a quick way that we can get to this info, that's probably the best way to do it, because it'll always be up to date.
Exactly. So, I like that a lot. I like that we can update it and we can get it in there. So when you're doing the form itself, the inspection form, pre-fire form, and you looked at that pre-fire form from Everett. You're not looking at too many additions, are you? As far as
no, it's really there's really not that many differences there. I mean, it's going to be maybe, like I said, some verbiage changes here and there, maybe an addition of a couple questions, and then maybe we had some on there that they didn't. So what I'll do is I'll go back through and scrub it, and I'll add some, and I'll try to go back in and look at this and break it down a little differently, or maybe like that inspection form, kind of encapsulate different sections a little bit better, to kind of make it flow better, especially when you're on a iPad. You just kind of want it to flow a little bit better. So things like that.
Is this used currently for Microsoft based stuff too? Like
it can. So this
Surface tablet that he's always working on and pulling things up. So I'm looking at QuickBase apps here. If he has a QuickBase app on his lap or on his tablet, right, he can easily click on the app for. I'm reading across here for rosters of any sort.
Yeah.
Right. He could put all the roster sheets that he made for our bids and debit days. He could download all that in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on what he's wanting to do. So I'll show you. So Thad is are you talking about Thad?
Yeah.
Okay. So what if he likes his Surface, what will happen is he will basically log into a web view like this. It's basically just being on the website.
Yeah.
He will not get that iOS view because I don't think Microsoft has a application for it yet. So he'll basically save QuickBase as a hyperlink, or as a button on his laptop, and then he'll click on that and he'll basically come into this view and do all the same stuff, right?
Okay.
And that's kind of where I was going with. We'll jump over here just for 1 second. This BC Tie-In portal, I told you I brought in the roster thing.
Sure.
So if you look on this roster, and this is kind of where it gets kind of cool. I did this roster, and then you can see that roster. I just built a couple little charts that flow off of the data in the background. It just shows background, and then it all talks to each other. You can click on it and go, well, I need to know everybody that's on C shift, and you click on it. It takes you to the report, and you get it broken out, right? And it tells you all their specialties, right? All that stuff, and you can change all this stuff, just by going in. So you're always talking to it and updating it. So you can go in and say, okay, now Julian's not, he doesn't want to do hazmat anymore. So we're going to take hazmat off but he's going to be a AMSO now, right? And you say that and boom, it'll update on all those charts, right?
Okay.
So it's constantly talking to the background. It's all talking to each other. If they need to come in and they need to know, well, hey, who all do we have that is, who are our AC guys? They can click on AC. They'll tell you the AC guys that they have, right? Which I don't think that's right. So there's probably some cleanup that needs to happen here. But I took all this off of their spreadsheet.
Actually, that is right. He is an actor still, Dwayne Martin.
No, acting captain. Okay.
But
you can.
Are you getting this information from Telestaff?
I got this. This was a roster that was on I found a roster that was just updated on the share drive somewhere.
Oh wow!
But it wasn't broken down like this. It was in bad shape. It was weird, man. It's like the station and shift were together and they were beside the name, almost like what Telestaff looks like.
Okay.
So I had to go and take all that and shift it over so we could have ways of looking at the data. But basically from here you can see anything you need to see, whether it's a shift. We're still in the C shift thing, but you can if you need to know the station assignment. So he'll always have that ability and access to look at all this stuff without a spreadsheet, right? And then if he does want a spreadsheet, then all he's got to do is go in and friggin' print the damn spreadsheet or save it as a spreadsheet, and he can have a spreadsheet.
Okay. I think you hit it on the nose, whether you knew it or not, when you said, yeah, we can hyperlink this on the screen, but the iOS system operates this in a better way.
So it depends. So it depends on what view you want to see it. There are some things that work better. So the iOS piece is good, but there's certain things. There's like certain reports you can't see. Sometimes it's better to be, but so from the user end experience, it's way better for inputting data. So going out doing inspections, pre-fires, the iOS side is good. If you're doing admin and you're doing higher end stuff where you need to see things a little bit more like this is going to be better for you. So if you're working from your laptop or your computer, or a surface, you're going to have this kind of view, which is going to be a lot better for management of stuff. Small things, operational small things, awesome on the iOS. They're great. But going and looking at charts, trying to pull data, doing stuff like that, not as much.
Okay.
Yeah. So if that makes any
real
sense.
time, when I'm entering my notes, let's say I've just got my iPhone and I've got my app on my iPhone and I'm sitting at 17 and I add in something in my daily BC tie-in notes.
Yep.
And I hit enter, it's in there. He could see it. If he's apt, he could look at that app and see exactly what I wrote down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Right away. And that's the beauty of it is you can, you can jump in there right away and see what everybody's up to for that day, right? You'll have a daily report and you'll have a pre-day report, or whatever you guys want to do, however you want to see it, So he can see what's going on through the day, almost like the old school station journal, but he can look at it on his phone. Doing stuff like that is super easy. Adding data, well, you guys saw it when I did it on the little broadcast thing. It's super easy to add it and it's super easy to see it. But if you're trying to do more than that, like actual data management and stuff like that, the app is not your place, right? You want to be on the web view and you want to be kind of looking at it this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can do both, and I like that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and matter of fact, when you're on the iOS version, you can actually click on it to say show me web view, and it'll take you to this kind of look. It's just a little harder because it's like from my iPhone, it just makes it kind of tough.
I see you have asset tracking above there.
Yeah, I was playing around with this stuff before I knew really what was going on with facilities and all that.
Okay.
So the first thing, I started in this supply portal and I said that I can't figure out where to find, how to add freaking toilet paper. I just want to add toilet paper to station 12. And it's like finding the freaking form, finding the right tab, finding out who to send it to, right? All that stuff.
Oh my God. I just figured out what you had been bitching about the other day, that all we have to do is be able to build this form out so it electronically populates to facilities, and they've got a running electronic count immediately of where they need to send supplies.
Yeah. So I built it out. I built out all the inventory, and this is the cool part. Like if you're on your phone or you're just at the station and you need to add something, you don't have to go find it. You can just go back. You can do this. Oops. And then I'll show you that here in a sec. But it goes back and it basically, if you want to see all the orders that are ongoing for your station, you just click here and you'll see a list, or you can add a new order. But if you want to add a new order for station 12, you just hit add new order. And then all you got to do is, if you do it this way, then you just got to do your pull downs and you find it. But I built in this little search tool at the front, which is even cooler. You basically just this is what would be on the front page of your app. You just go, hey man, I need some damn toilet paper. This is going to be my thing. I just hit toilet paper and it goes, oh, well, do you want toilet paper dispenser or do you want the actual rolls? Oh man, I want the actual rolls. Let's order that. And I order it. And then the order's going now. And then I just add a couple notes about, hey, I need one case. It looks like it's a case. It's the date. What did I do today? I just need one case of that. I'm on the shitter right now. And then I just hit save and close, and then this is all background stuff for whoever would hand. So basically, if I say in the background of this, you can't see it from here, but it says, if this tab of the old Excel sheet, send it to this person. If this tab, send it to this person. And it just, as soon as I hit save and close, that is all automated in the background and I'm done, right?
Sure.
So I don't need to know who to send it to. I don't care. It's going to go to whoever it needs to go to, right? So You do that, you send it off, it's gone. And then what you can do is if you're at station 12 and you're like, man, I wonder, you can see as what's pending in different places by station and all that, but you can actually go into your station and go, man, I wonder if the crew yesterday ordered some shitter paper because we're out. You just go on all the previous orders and you look, and this is probably my order from today. Oh, here you go. So here's here's everything that's been ordered over the days, and it would have date. I could get the date and all that on here. You could see what's going and whether it's been fulfilled and yada yada yada. So, anyways, I built that and then started looking at this asset tracking and basically building some stuff out there. But it sounds like that's all taken care of. I mean, because the asset tracking is a little different.
It is, but here's another tool, right? I mean, I'm not going to worry about asset tracking as much as, man, show the rig check stuff, show the BC tie-in definitely, because he was hot on that. And as we go along, I guess in your conclusion, you can say, look, there's nothing you can't do with this, like supply orders. It could be immediate, real time. I could look at it on my phone and see that, oh, they ordered toilet paper the other day, and I know it's an easier process. It's real time that facilities actually gets it. Every day they come in, they could just hit their app and they know, oh, I've got to load up 30 cases today and deliver it here, here, and here.
Yep, exactly. And that's kind of, I'll probably take this off and this off because that's being talked about. This one might have some value for the union stuff. I don't know, but like the apparatus stuff we were starting to do, we were looking in, I was like, dude, we don't have anywhere. We do all this hose testing, nozzle testing. I guess we won't be doing that anymore, but we were starting to try to track that stuff as well. But, here's your rig check. You come in and you freaking start a new rig check, and then you put the info in and it tell you if there's deficiencies or not. And then you can go back into the actual rig and see the full history of that apparatus whenever you want. You can see what's outstanding.
What does your daily form look like when you're doing a daily form?
So, God, I don't even remember. Let's take a look. Let's do a new rig check. So engine 15, we'll do a rig check on engine 15.
Okay.
Shift date. So this is not cleaned up. This would all be out of here. Personnel, say me.
For me, it looks easy right now. I'm just looking at it going, I could do this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. It's cake. Is it a daily or is it a Saturday? If it goes Saturday, we get some new things that we got to do down here.
Oh, right? Yeah.
But if it's just a daily, those bury. You don't see them. So you go through here and then, hey man, you want me to put checks in boxes? There you go. There's checks in boxes. Makes everybody feel good.
Or could you have a button down lower that says all complete?
Well, this is what I know they will not do is they actually want people to physically check each one.
Okay.
Or they used to, because what they'll say, and that's what I think this needs to be revamped. If we go to a digital form, there needs to be reminders of things to look at, but really this will not be our key for deficiencies, right? We need to have a different way, hey, there's a new deficiency, yada, 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 and then you save it there and then it's done. This ticketing would probably go away. Every record would probably have an identifier that the maintenance shop would use. So that way we didn't have to make it too complex and get into different areas that you're looking. So it's probably
I like the ticket thing about, right now we send it to you write up a form, the form goes to battalion forwards it forward. Okay. It'd be cool to have a ticket item where you just write it up on your iPad right there in real time and hit go. And it can go to, it goes into a record that I can see facilities gets, or not facilities, but maintenance gets, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We have to be aware of everything. It's my job as a battalion chief, if I want to know what's going on, to look underneath that app every day and say, maybe I could look and say in my battalion, 15, 14, 16, 17, and 20. Can I look and see if there was anything written up today? Yeah, I could. It'll just show me a red flag or something that says, yeah, they had a maintenance issue. And then I could look it up from there.
Yeah, exactly. If it's, even not the rig check, just like you said, hey, we found this new issue. This wasn't really part of our rig check, but we need to fill out the form. So we just go in, we look at, what the new maintenance form is that we've been using. We embed that in here and then we tie it back to the engine, which is already done here. If I leave this page, I guess we'd say, hey, we need a maintenance ticket. This isn't a rig check. You just come back and you go, well, you can go to maintenance ticket and go pick the actual apparatus, or you can come in here and you should go Maybe I don't have it built out yet, but it's probably this guy. I would just add a ticket, and then I could see all the tickets for that apparatus as well. And then we would say, okay, well, we want the form to look like this, and then you would actually go in and fill it out and embed it that way. And then everybody's on the same page. And then you can add another level to say, if there's a deficiency, it goes to BC, battalion first. Battalion logs in. Once they hit this checkbox that says approved, they have a chance to put notes in. They hit save, and then it goes to maintenance.
Jesus, that'd be so fast.
Oh yeah, and that's it. It's all done.
And it hits us on the go, and it doesn't clutter up the battalion email.
The battalion email is a joke.
Now, if you could solve that issue and divide up everything from vacation requests to shift trade requests, if you could app those, you're in the fucking money, my mister. That is like,
I could probably do that by the end of the night, buddy.
If you did that, if there's it could show. So let's say somebody orders a vacation. Let's just say it's an order. It says, I want to take off January 15th. And there's a way that it says, this is from this person, this battalion, whatever, right? And then in there, if there's a way to show, here's his current vacation hours, that would be the bomb.
Yeah, we'll see that's where it starts getting tricky, because telestaff won't talk with anything.
That's right.
So if you can't talk to telestat, so the only way to do that is to pick a time where you go, okay, on February 1st, the hours need to be transitioned from telestaff. Well, CNC, that still wouldn't work. You'd have to completely cut off using hours and telestaff. They would still be there, but that would not be, you would have to manage it here because they won't talk.
So the only thing we could do to limit the email would be, hey, they're still going to have to go on telestaff, submit their request in there, right? So it shows a timestamp in telestaff, and we have to go in there and check the approval on it. But at the same time, if they just hit a ticket item saying vacation request and it goes to the right battalion chief, it doesn't clutter up the email. I just look at the app and it alerts me, and I'm like, oh, I've got 5 vacation requests to look at and tell them over there, and I hit it.
Yep, exactly. You would just come into QuickBase, and we'd probably put a new area here that says, vacation/trade request. And then that would be a whole new bucket of stuff, and it would tie back to this roster. And on this roster, you'd go back to the roster, and you could go, there would be a little link like this that says vacation and trades, or maybe there's vacation and trades. And those people would come in.
A big thing is as they click this, Hovis could instantly look up to see, hey man, this guy's got 50 trades already this month.
Yes, you would be able to see that.
Not that I want somebody to be policed. I'm just saying, there's always like 3 guys out of the whole department, right?
Yep.
And if they're pushing their trades, it's an easy thing for him to look up and say, let me see how many trades he's done. And he can hit it, and it shows him the exact amount on time.
Yep, exactly. And you can do that right away, right? So they would, if you did a trade link, so you'd have a trade table and a vacation table, or both, and you could go into that area, and then from there you would look over here and you could have trade, vacation. And when you click it, it would have the hours beside it, because those would be input whenever the user asks for it, right? Sure. And all that stuff you could summarize and build back into reporting, and you could basically have embedded reports that change as this goes, right? Per person, per station, per whatever you want to do.
Okay.
So yeah, that's so maybe what I'll do, just as a little nugget, is I'll add that into this.
Oh man, Hovis would absolutely do backflips if he knew that he had a quick way to look at somebody's trade hours for the year or vacation hours for the year. Because sometimes on the fly, HR is like, hey, we're not sure. We want to give him this day, or he's out of town and he's on this, and there's a chance we would like to give him more of this for FMLA, but we don't. And he can just be, just a second, click. Well, right here it says he should be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And that's
so and then people would just tracking for punishment. It's a tracking for, hey, we need to know, what can we give this guy on the fly if he's got a family emergency, and I want to know these things right now.
Right, exactly. And you could just go in and you would have the ability to, you would have it laid out just like this. It would timestamp when they submitted it, which sometimes comes into play, right?
Sure.
Which is easier to see here. And then you would have a box that says, okay, who's requesting it, me, and then who are you requesting to work for you, and you would just go down and click on them and their name would go in here. So you'd pull up your name, pull up their name, you'd put the dates for each one in there, and then there would be an approval area that only the BCs could access, and they would show approved and then any notes in there that needed to happen. And then users would just have to come in here and they would have to come in and check in. This is where you find out if your trades or vacation were approved, right? The whole email shit, that stuff goes away.
Oh my God.
So maybe I'll add a little something like that and bounce it off of you before then, just as a little, hey, another way.
Yeah, just showing them that, hey, we can app base, we can quick base and app so much more and make it so much quicker. The thing that's going to change our lives is going to be the the inspections, but the maintenance, the forms, our daily checks, our weekly checks, our ticketing to maintenance. That's going to make Lauren he's going to scream bloody murder for this. You know that. And our facilities, if they tag on that this can be a fast way, you're sure as shit they're going to go for this. And Hovis alone, just on what you gave from the BC tie-in to, hey, I could track your trades. Hey, I could track your vacations. And you could hit it real quick from anywhere, home, anywhere. You just hit your phone and that guy will come up. You can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no, you don't have to go through and write an email back and respond. And you basically, there's a lot of ways to do it, but, you could even get down to the level of, hey, if this is A shift, then we will notify the A battalion group, or they will have their own area, or, people just come in and they'll just go, hey, I'm going to go to this new vacation table or whatever report we have kicking back here, but I only want to see A shift. So it's just click on A shift and now, boom, there we go. These ones haven't been signed off on yet. Done. All right. So the possibilities become basically just whatever your imagination is a bit. There's some limitations, but overall, just the functionality becomes so much easier.
It does. This is way too cool. I'm way too much into this, man. And I think I think when Mike, who's going to be, it's going to be funny to watch this. Mike Vermeil's just going to be sitting there with an ear grin because he's just going to be like, yeah, this is the shit. This is what we should have done years ago, right? I know that's what he's going to be thinking because when Olson asked him when I prompt the question, so what do you think is the better user, before I could even get out, he goes, iOS. It's like he'd been waiting for somebody to prompt him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool, man. There's a lot, I think there's a lot of value. I mean, obviously there's a lot of development that has to happen with it, but it's definitely doable as long as we get the time, and there's the possibilities are pretty endless, man. We've got all kinds of stuff that we could do. We talked about NARC logs in the past and making sure we had a good way of doing that. We talked about moving that over. There's just so many different things we could do to help speed up our process and make things better, and have the ability to document it digitally, and store it somewhere that is there forever and not paper, because that's stuff, those days are gone. So
yeah,
but, what's that?
We're way behind when I see paper come out. I'm just like, God, we're just. And if you figure out a way to get rid of that Excel fucking color book schedule too, and for that, they're going to build a bronze statue of you out in front of headquarters, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think there's ways to do it. I mean, I do. There's ways to do it that would be a bit different than what we do with telestaff, but yeah, I mean, telestaff is convoluted, man. It's how deep do you make it? How big do you make it? It's pretty deep. So
yeah, I don't see them ever getting away from a telestaff use immediately, but the Excel spreadsheet has always been the excuse that we needed a backup system to refer to. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they had two ways of looking at it. Well, our complaint is that Excel, it's like looking at a coloring book. there's no right or wrong, and guys are constantly adding in notes on the side versus just stuff that auto populates and shows up a little easier.
Right. Yeah, it makes it tough, man. I mean, so yeah, we used to do, with Station Journal, we used to do, our staffing was a lot easier,
Sure.
a lot easier, right? So we were able to do some things there, but we were able to break things down and kind of just gonna try to show you just real quick while I'm thinking about it. 'Cause I don't even know if this stuff exists anymore. Oh man, this could be. Where's the month? So I have to probably go way back. I don't even know. This is kind of what ours used to look like. I mean, this was it. And then if you clicked on your shift, you would see what the assignments were for that day. So there's your engine, your aid car, your medic unit. Windstorm coverage. This is a fun day apparently. But you'd see all your training. All this stuff was broken out. And they did everything from here. So shift notes. This was kind of our journaling or tie-in each day. We had a little thing down here, and then if you came up to print it, then it would actually show the breakdown of it differently. So that way you could have a little bit cleaner view of. Just gonna do it. Yeah, of what it looked like, who the actual assignments were. So, battalion, engine, aid car, medic unit. Here's station 14. So we would just build in a ton of these. So it'd be different, but it's doable. And then you can see all the leave category, everything that else is going on that helps them schedule that stuff out. But what we didn't have to do is get into the, specialties like hazmat and rescue and ladder. And we didn't really have to do that. So that would be like another layer, but you could have it all sitting here as another column that says, hey, this guy does this, this, and this. This position needs this. This guy does this, this, and this. This position needs this. And same for down here as you got these people taking their time off.
Sure.
So, it's not impossible. It's not.
No, it looks real doable. I think that you're gonna shock them a little bit with the forms. We might ask Lauren if he wants to come to this.
Yeah, we should. Him and Greg. I mean, because Greg's got some good input too from the user perspective, and he's the one that I talked to. I haven't talked to Lauren about it in a long time, but I think it's clunky. So when I first talked to him about it, it was just Linwood, and they were able to kind of get away with using just because they do have an electronic like historical thing in the background, but it's different than the operational write-ups and stuff like that, because they're still doing those on paper, and there's a lot of manual process there. So maybe throw a note out to both of those guys and say, hey, Jared told me he talked to Greg, and we got this forms discussion. We'd like you to come in, just take a quick look, get your feedback, see what you think, and then kind of go from there. Or I could talk to him before that too.
The other thing too you might look at too real quick is you can get in on ours and look at the apparatus tracking. We got units in service, and it gives the unit number, right? Like engine 15, and what's engine 15's number, like 198 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And it shows it in service at the station, and then it shows our reserve backup rigs where they're at. So if engine 15 goes out, then I put this one in play, and I change it to that one will be at station 15, and then I put this one at shops. If we had a way to kind of show that tracking real quick and make that work, that would take it off the Y drive. And man,
that's well, huge. I'll show you. So now, so you said that, right? So let me go to my email here. It's like I knew where you were kind of going with this stuff.
Okay.
So this is your apparatus tracking form that's on the Y drive, right?
Yep.
Here, right? You're aware. You guys look at this, right? So I don't know if you use it, but
we for now we use it, but it's we need something better.
Yeah. So all we would do, I mean, so we already have the unit in there. We have the app number. The app number never changes. That's the driver. Where it lives does, and what its location does, and whether it's in service, out of service does. So those are just fields you put in there. Back on. Sorry, I'm bouncing around on you, man. back right here on this, this is very basic, but this would just be apparatus. And then here it would say, current assignment, current location, and all that's here. And then if it changes, then whoever's in charge of that, they just come in and go, okay, well, F-161 is not engine 14 right now. That is actually, see what options we get. That is actually, what is running slow? That is actually, and this would be a pull down, instead. We'd say, well, that's actually engine 12 now. And that's right. And then, whatever. It's and it's a station assignment is a station 12 now. And that all pulls in, and you just save and close it, and it updates, and it's done.
And then we could pull up a real-time active tracking sheet that shows us what units are where just off the fly.
Yep. And then what we do is we build a new report in here. If somebody wants to see that report like they used to in the old day, we would just build a new report, and you would be able to come up here and go to that report that says apparatus tracking. You click on that, and then we say, all right, whenever you print this up, we don't want to see all this other BS. We want to see the apparatus, the number, the location, and the current status, and that is it. So you click on that, it pops it up, and boom, you're done.
Oh, that's way too easy. Yeah, you got to show that too.
Okay.
Or at least quick synopsis, just like you did, and say, this is what I can do for your tracking. And I can do it. It's an app. You can pull it on your phone. You can pull it on a pad. It's nothing that you have to get into the Y drive. That's the big thing Thad'll like, is say, it's no longer a Y drive item. It's off the Y drive, and everybody everywhere can see where it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's real time. It's going, and you can link all this stuff to each other in the background and have a historical view of it too, right? So yeah, I can get that. That's easy. Like, I can build those fields out, throw in some test apparatus. Because what I got to do is I got to go in there and I got to download this Word document. I got to download the freaking Word document. So I'll just do a test field. Like, I won't pull everything in here unless I can. I'll just pull some in and throw some of the basic data in there, and then excuse my love letter there. It was my anniversary yesterday.
Oh, happy anniversary, man!
Thanks, man.
I followed you on Facebook a little bit. I saw the that one post.
What's that?
I saw your post on Facebook.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So yeah, I'm gonna take this and basically, try to pull some of this in, and then I'll probably just, because I can take this and convert it to an Excel sheet, then upload that Excel sheet to the document, and then I can add another field that says it's already on their assignment. So there you go. So this pretty much has everything I need for something to look at, and then I'll build out a quick little apparatus tracking report and just say, hey, here you go. This is pretty much what you guys have been using off of form, A and B, all in one spot, all with other stuff that's already going on, for you guys. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah. So I'll work on that too. If you think that's worth working on, that shouldn't be too hard.
Secondary to, the items that we got to present for sure.
Yeah. I'll work on the pre-incident I'll work on the pre-fire stuff a little bit and review the forms you sent me, kind of come up with something new-ish that looks, whatever. And then what I think we'll probably do for now, because probably the easiest way to do this now is to have two different areas. One is your company inspections, and one are your pre-fires, right? Yes, and we'll just keep it separate and just roll down that.
Because Jared, the information already shares. What we can share, we'll share.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you said, if I enter in the owner, his contact information, it's automatically going to fill that field in the other one. So
exactly.
That's all he was asking for was, hey, well, what if I want to fill this field? And it was emergency contact info or stuff like that. And it's like, that's already going to fill.
Yeah. If it's there, it'll fill. If it's not there, it won't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be set with that. I don't think we have to combine the two. I think we're separate. The only thing we'll need to do down the road, and we can do this down the road, is like for the cities is for a reminder to come up to say, you're doing an inspection, and oh, by the way, there's a pre-fire due on that too.
Yes, exactly. So if the pre-fire is due for 2019 and you're there and that date and you're out there on a pre-fire, on an inspection form, then the pre-fire, if it's due as well, it needs to we need to make sure that it's notifying you. So you can do it while you're there. So that'll be one way of getting back to the same form so it's either I'm out doing a inspection and oh shit, this needs a pre-fire too. Cool, let me click on that when I'm done with this. Click on that, then I go back to the same place that I'd be if I was on a map and I was just out there looking at pre-fires. So it'll still do the same thing that's due, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that shouldn't be hard.
This is going to be good. I can see it's being good. Good,
man. Well, glad to help. I just figured this would be way easier because I had a lot of things to kind of show you, just so I wasn't sure what you'd seen yet or not, and I thought that would be helpful to kind of see what we had already and show you that, hey, we can show them something. And I'll go in and clean some things up so we got kind of tight before then, and as clean as I can in the amount of time I got. So
yeah, I think you're on the right path, and I think that once you show, we got a 2-hour window in there. So once we show them that, hey, this is how easy it is to use. You can do this on your phone. I can put it on your phone. I can put it on your iPad. I can link it on your Surface, whatever you want. But it is super easy for you to be somewhere out at a meeting doing something and say, I can tell you what apparatus is in service. Hey, I can tell you, what our supply count for this is. I can tell you what, how much inspections have been done and who's delinquent on it, or trades, or any of that, right? When you start talking about how easy it could be to use from different locations, it's a no-brainer. It's a sold item.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think we're onto something good, and a lot of these things we can do as a very basic. We can get some data in there and get it cleaned up enough where they should be all right, cool. I can see it, without it being too cluttered. So I'll dive in there over the next few days and kind of get a few of these won't take long. A few of them are going to take some work, but we'll have something good. I know that meeting is a big deal, and I want to make sure that you're coming in there feeling good. And we probably need to do this another time or two just so you're feeling comfortable about it,
Yeah, I like it though. What I saw in there is going to work perfect.
Good, man.
We're off of paper.
Imagine that.
That makes me feel good. All right. Okay. I'll give me a call tomorrow. I'll be around too. I got ops meeting in the morning. If I hear anything in there, I'll give you a call right afterwards. We should be out of there by 11 or 12 easy.
Okay. Yeah, and if I get time to do something early, I might just do a quick little video and shoot it to you. It's with this, it seems to make life a lot better to see it. So if timing doesn't work out, because I know like midday tomorrow I'm gone for a lot of the day. So if I get stuff done early, I'll just shoot you something like this, and that way you can take a look, and then we can talk later.
That works.
So we're moving.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man.
I'll get you going on. I'll get you in there. I think it's going to wrap you tight with Mike, which is huge.
I'm at your service.
Yeah, there you go. And then as time goes on, you're going to be kicking me in the balls later, saying, "Man, I don't want to work any more overtime."
Yeah, there will be some of that potentially, but I know it's the right thing to do for now. And once we get past the big hump, it'll either do one of two things. It'll slow down, and we'll just be cool with what we got, or they're going to be like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? And that's where it gets a little tricky. We might have to bring some other guys in that can help do development and stuff like that in-house. I mean, we got guys that are smart. This is not, I'm not doing a ton of coding with this. This is real basic development stuff, and we got guys that can do that. So if we had other guys that wanted to get on board, we should get them on board.
Yeah, and you got, like you said, you got it'll be interesting to see what Mike says, because I think Mike's just gonna be, his mind's just gonna be turning like, oh, this could offload a lot for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it really could.
Busy just with keeping the computer system running, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's got a big platform. There's a lot to figure out, but he's got options. So hopefully he'll pick some right ones. Or he might come in and be like, nah, screw you guys. I got it. Check out what I got.
I didn't get that impression though. He was looking at us like, yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there, man. It's tough, man. He's got a lot to do. So, well, hopefully this will help him out and give him some, a way to get some more things done and, use the resources he has, man. There's no one better than us guys out there in the field that can do both of them and try to help him get there quicker.
Yeah, perfect.
So, all right, man. Well, hey, you have a good evening. Don't go buying any more tampons at the store.
I got soccer practice now, so I'm running out the door.
All right, man. Let's go. See you, bud.
Thanks.
Later.
Bye.
You bet. Bye-bye.